como pelar mandarinas. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son, el doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son, el doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Hago queso hermano, también queso opera. Costeño matera, pay, papal y zulia, y hasta doble crema. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son, el doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son, el doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor.
Hi everyone, welcome once again to my channel, to my YouTube channel, Dr. Quesero TV, and to my program Ask the Cheese Doctor. This is an open window for all who wants to learn how to make cheese and speaks English. I have my Spanish version at 10 a.m. New Zealand time, and this is the English version for all the people who wants to learn how to make cheese and then they don't speak Spanish. So I created this channel. So I created this program if they want to learn if they speak English. And this program is only in English. My name is Dietrich Truxes, and I am the cheese doctor. Okay. Today, my apologies for last week because last week we have problem with the transmission. I couldn't finish the transmission. I had to suspend it. Something happened with the computer. I just tried to make them the program outside instead of my study on my studio here, and something happened with the computer. I reckon it was a little bit too much heat because it was hot by that time, and the computer got overheated and it started to create problems, and I had to suspend the program. The computer didn't respond. I mean, anyway, we are here. And we're gonna finish the presentation about the lactic cultures, how to create your mix of lactic cultures, your secret mix of lactic cultures. When we make cheese, sometimes cheesemakers combine one bacteria with the other, and they don't tell you the secret. I will tell you the secret, how to do it, how to combine this type of bacteria. But first, we have to know which bacteria and what the names of the bacteria are. In the first two programs, I already did. But anyway, because I missed 1 week, I'm going to make like a review. And today we're going to review all the knowledge. So if you missed the last two presentations, don't worry. And as always, I will answer all your questions. Okay. This is my iPad. Thank you for you all. We are almost 16,000 subscribers. We are 16,848 subscribers, and people is subscribing every day. Thank you for that. We have an average of more or less about 1,800 subscribers per month, which is good, but we have to beat Gavin Weaver, which is the other influencer that teach how to make cheese, and he has a lot of subscribers as well. Okay, thank you for subscribing to joining my channel. To Jose Rene Ramirez Martinez, he joined the program, my mentoring program. Thank you. And I'm making two videos now. Well, I'm making one, but I'm planning to make the other one. My next video is going to be about Gouda. We're going to make Gouda cheese. And the other one is going to be blue cheese. So we're going to have these two videos in my bullpen so we can, you guys can learn how to make this type of cheeses, okay? Gouda cheese and blue cheese. And there is, the registration is open also for the World Cheese Contest for the American Cheese Society in America. This is an international cheese award. And if you want to compete, you can register over there and compete. You have to deliver your cheeses to the association. It's in Milwaukee, in Iowa. If you want to compete over there, it's a very good chance to prove that you are doing things correctly. Okay, I'm going to compete. The bad news is that each piece is $75 Americans. So if you want to take 10 pieces, it's $750. So it'll depend on your resources. So, but it's a good chance to get recognition for the product that you make. Okay. Um, another thing is we have had 660,000, sorry, 650,000 views in the channel. I really appreciate the support. That this compromised me more to make more content and better content for you guys. And I really appreciate it. 650,000 views in my channel, in all the videos. I never thought I was gonna have so many views in my channel. So without you, we wouldn't have any show, we wouldn't have any channel. So I really thank for it. Okay, and well, let's start with the presentation. As I said, I'm gonna make a review of the other or the I'm gonna make a review, a very quick review of the bacteria, so you guys can remember what you have studied. But anyway, if you haven't, I'm going to review it again here. So I have the presentation here, and let me share the screen. And as always, I'm going to answer all your questions. I have questions here from the audience as well, and from several groups that I'm here. I am registered as well, and they ask me, and I have it here so I can answer the question. So let's share the screen, and let's carry on with the presentation. Okay. Okay, here we are. Let me see. Okay, here we are. Okay, let's go with the presentation. As I said, we always combine lactic cultures, bacteria, and as you know, these bacteria they like low temperatures, which they are mesophilic ones, or high temperature, which are the thermophilic ones. But we normally follow a recipe. The thing is that you can create your own recipe. You don't have to follow the recipes that are here in the market. You can create your own mix. And to create your own mix, you need to know how to combine them. And I'm going to teach you how. Okay, so going forward, the lactic cultures, I'm going to go quick because I already, these two presentations, this presentation is in the last two programs. So if you want to go in details, just go to the last two programs and you will be able to have a look. Okay. So these lactic cultures are this small powder that comes into a packet or sacket, and they are named according to the family, the species. This SSP is always have it, and the subspecies. As an example, if you want to name one, should be you first have to name the species. Lactococcus, then the subspecies Lactis, SSP, and then the subspecies which is sublactis. So one way to name this type of culture is the Lactococcus lactis, sublactis, Lactococcus lactis, subcremoris, and so on. Okay, and this type of bacteria might be mesophilic or thermophilic one, and I'm going to show you first one, the mesophilic ones. The mesophilic is very common, and they call it mesophilic. Is the Lactococcus lactis sublactis. Okay, it's a mesophilic one. They live or they reproduce at a rate of between 29 and 35 degrees Celsius, and they produce acid. The other one is Lactococcus lactis subcremoris, the same, between 30 and 32. Both of them are mesophilic ones, and both of them produce acid. These bacteria normally, they usually come together to avoid bactrophage. Bactrophage is an attack from virus, but this is another story. Okay, so they always come together to avoid this bactrophage problem. We also have this other two, which is the Lactococcus lactis Biovardia acetylactis and Leuconostoc mesenteroides. This one, the above one, the temperature of the optimum temperature is between 29 and 35 degrees Celsius. They produce acid and flavor, and also produce gas. So if you want to make a cheese with holes, you have to use this bacteria compulsorily. The other one is the leuconostoc mesenteroides. It also produces gas, but it doesn't produce acid. It produces gas and flavor. So if you want, it's up to you how to mix it. If you want a cheese with a lot of holes, you can use leuconostoc mesenteroides, biacetilactic, and the other ones. And I'm gonna teach you how to do it in the along the way. So these are the four mesophilic ones that we normally use when we make cheese. Okay. Now we have the thermophilic ones. The thermophilic ones are, as I said, bacteria that like high temperatures. So when we are heating the milk, is we have to heat between 40 and 45 degrees Celsius. One thing when we make cheese is to heat the milk, but we heat the milk is to create the conditions for the bacteria to reproduce. If we're using mesophilic ones, which is low temperature bacteria, we have to heat at the temperature of the bacteria, which is, as I said before, between 29 and 35 degrees Celsius. In the thermophilic ones, we have to heat a little bit higher, between 40 and 45. And one thermophilic bacteria is the Streptococcus thermophilus. Okay, they produce acid. The other one is Lactobacillus delbrueckii bulgaricus, subbulgaricus. This is another thermophilic one. Their optimum temperature is between 45 and 48 degrees Celsius. They produce also acid, and they have a high level of salt content. Another one is the Lactobacillus helveticus, which is another thermophilic one. The Lactobacillus helveticus, which is another thermophilic one. Their optimum temperature is between 40 and 45 degrees Celsius. Okay, they also produce acid, and the salt tolerance is 3%. The other one is the Lactobacillus lactis, also produce acid. All the thermophilic ones only produce acid. They don't produce flavors and gas. They only produce acid, which is what we use when we make cheese. The idea when we use bacteria is to acidify the curd to get a certain level of acidity, and depending on the level of acidity, we can make our cheese to stretch or not. Okay. As I said, all these thermophilic ones produce acid. Now that we understand which bacteria is which, the mesophilic ones and the thermophilic ones, we have to understand the numbers. When we are making cheese or when we are following a recipe, sometimes the recipe tells us we have to put X% of lactic cultures. This X% is based on the chemical point of view. When we study chemistry in high school, okay, and they used to teach us the percentage of any product is by weight over volume, over the volume that we put. And the usual doses, for example, for these cheeses, in this case, if we have a cheese 0.05 or between 0.05 or 0.5%, okay? In this case, if we use 0.5%, in theory, for 50 liters of milk, we have to use 250 grams if we made the number. How do I get this number? Very easy. We multiply the percentage that we are looking for, 0.5, multiplied by the amount of liter of milk, and we have to, if we are using grams, we have to use the same unit, which is milliliters. Okay, if we assume that the weight of the water, 1 gram is 1 milliliter. If we are using this, you get 250 grams. Also, if you use your calculator, it's very easy. You go 0.5 times 50%, okay, multiplied by 1,000 will give you, because you are working with milliliters, is 250 grams. But this is the correct way to do it in chemistry. But in cheese making, it doesn't work like that. Okay. Before I continue, the the um, the the um, the usual values for lactic cultures, I mean the concentration of lactic culture for to use in cheeses are, I have this different type of cheeses here. So for mozzarella, we usually use a percentage of lactic cultures between 0.05 and zero point 0.5. For Leicestershire cheese, which is a type of cheddar, we use between 0.5 and 1.25% of lactic cultures, depending on the volume of the milk. For Gruyere cheese, we use between 0.5 and 0.7%. For Gouda, 0.5 and 1, and so on. Okay, so this here, this way of calculating the numbers is not the correct way. Cheesemakers do it in a different way. We don't multiply by 1,000. We, instead of doing it here by weight volume, the volume is always expressed in liters, always. Okay, so this, with the same formula, we just multiply 0.5 by times the number of liters and divide by 100. We don't multiply by 1,000, which is more or less the same. With the calculator, we just 0.5 multiplied by 50%, sorry, 0.5% multiplied by 50 liters percent, and give me 0.25, which is the same as the percentage that we are looking for multiplied by the liter of milk and divided by 100 to get the percentage. That's it. And you're going to get here 0.25. In this case, 0.5% is 0.5 multiplied by the amount of liter of milk divided by 100. It will tell you the number, the amount of grams to use in your mix of 50 liters. Okay, let's make some numbers. Okay, for example, if I have my package of thermophilic cultures, sometimes they tell me use X amount of grams for X amount of liters. So when you buy the thermophilic cultures in the package, then they usually tell you this package is to inoculate 1,250 liters of milk, to put an example. Okay, but we don't know how many grams do we have in the package. So what do we do to know the percentage of inoculation of this package? Very easy. We cut the package, weigh the amount, and to put an example, if my amount, when I weigh it, it weighs 28 grams, I just divide 28 grams by 1,250 because it's what the manufacturer is telling me that I have to use the content of this package in 1,250. To put an example, maybe it's 300, maybe 250 liters, maybe it's 1,000 liters. It will depend on the manufacturer. They will tell you. So if we divide the amount of grams that we have into the package by the amount of liter that the manufacturer is telling me and multiply by 100, I will get the percentage of inoculation. Okay, so as an exercise, let's do it together, and let's get the lower value, this lower value. Okay, for mozzarella, for 30 liters, how much it would be? We have to multiply 0.05 times 30 divided by 100. How much is it? Would be 0.05 times 30. It would be, for 30 liters for mozzarella, we have to use 0.015 grams of culture. For Leicestershire, let's use 0.5. If we use 0.5 for the same 30 liters, 0.5 times 30, 0.15 grams. Okay? Now for Gruyere, let's use 0.7 for 0 and 30 liters of milk. How would be the number? It would be 0.7 times 30 liters it would be 0.21 grams for Gruyere. For Gouda, 1%. Let's use 1%. For 30 liters times 1% is 0.3 grams. See, and so on. It's very easy. For feta, let's use 3%. Would be 30 liters times 3%, which is 30 times 3 divided by 100, would be 0.9 grams. Okay, and for last one, let's use 2% for quark. For 30 liters, 2% is 0.6 grams, which is 2 times 30 divided by 100 is 0.6 grams. So in this way, you will be able how to what amount of grams of the bacteria to use. Remember, they come in sackets and it's like a powder, and you have to weigh the powder with a microscale and put into the milk. Okay, when you put into the milk, you have to hydrate them. Put into the milk, let it set for 5-10 minutes to hydrate, and then if you once hydrated, you can stir it. Okay, if you stir straight away, the powder is gonna be really dry and it's gonna cake into the milk, and it's not going to dissolve. The idea is to let it hydrate so it can be spread accordingly and into the milk. Okay. Now I'm gonna in the next screen, I'm gonna teach you how to combine. Let's put one example. An example. Let's say that we are using 3 types of bacteria. Okay, and this is a practical example because let's say that we have to use a percentage of 1.5% of lactic cultures, and you have to mix 3 lactic cultures. Okay, so let's say if we are using 10 liters of milk, okay, as I said before, 10 liters of milk, 10 liters times 1.5 is 0.15 grams, correct? So I have to use 0.15 grams, but I'm going to use 3 cultures. But and this is an example. I decided that I was going to use 0.7 grams, 0.07 grams of Mesophilic Lactococcus lactis, 0.03 grams of Streptococcus thermophilus, and 0.05 grams of Propionic shermani, which is another culture. Okay, this only produces gas, like the leuconoscore. Because this is my recipe. I could have decided instead of putting 0.07, I could have decided I'm going to use 0.1. The thing is that I only need 0.15 grams because it's 1.5% for my 10 liters of milk. If I'm going to use 20 liters of milk, for example, 20 liters of milk, that has to be the double. 20 liters would be 20 times 1.5 divided by 100. It would have given me here 0.3 grams. I could have used 0.1 here, 0.1 here, and 0.1 here. The same amount in each culture, but this is my decision as a cheesemaker. And this is how do we prepare the mix. And then once I have the mix, I just test it, make the cheese, and if the result is reasonable, is all right to my expectations, I standardize the recipe and make my own recipe. If the cheese doesn't have too many holes and I want a cheese with a lot of holes, maybe I could increase the last one, which is a gas producer, which is a propionic, is a gas producer, and lower one of the amounts to make it 0.15 or 0.3 in the second case. I mean, this is what I want to tell you. I wanted to teach you that you can prepare your own mix and you can play with this amount here. As long as we have this amount here, which is because it's 1.5%, you can change it. You also can change this amount. Instead of 1.5, you would have decided it's not going to be 1.5. I'm going to make my cheese with 2% of lactic culture for mm, uh, this type of cheese, which I call Manchego X. I could have called it Mantuano X or Cheddar X, whatever. So I decided that it was 1.5 because I decided like this because I'm the cheesemaker, I'm the artist. It could have been less, could have been 1%. So depending of the amount, and you don't know how to calculate it, you can combine the lactic cultures here and make the test. If the results are okay, this is going to be your recipe, and you're not going to tell it to anyone because your recipe is secret because it has your personal touch and it's your product. If you want to share it with people, I do share it with you because I want you to learn, and this is the way to do it. Okay, so in your future cheeses and you want to make your own mix, this is the way to do it. Okay, well, this is how. Once again, my apologies for last week because we had this problem with the computer, and now let's go with the Q&A. But now we finished. Now we now you will know how to combine the cultures, and let's go with the Q&A. And as I said, if you want to make, I'm offering in my channel a cheese making course for beginners. If you want to learn how to make cheese accordingly, I would suggest take the course. I'm going to give you the link if you want to have it. Or if you want to have it, just send me an email to drquesero at gmail.com, and I will send you the link in English. The cheese making course is going to be in 5 languages. It's going to be in English, Spanish, Chinese, Hindi, and Arabic. So if you speak one of these languages, you will be able to learn how to make cheese. Okay, so the course is more than 50 videos, and we're going to make 18 cheeses. So you're going to make 18 different cheeses, and in addition, you will be part of my YouTube of my Facebook group. You will be part of my Facebook group, which is private, and you will be interacting with me, my colleagues, and also your schoolmates, your cheesemaker mates, and we're going to have share experiences. I'm going to make a monthly streaming private one only for the course to teach you more stuff about the cheesemaking process, and you will be able to learn your to increase your knowledge. If you don't remember anything for any reason, you can always come back to the videos, watch them, because it's a live membership. It doesn't expire once you pay for it, and you can watch the videos whenever you want and as many times as you want. Okay, so if you want to learn accordingly, if you really want to learn, I would suggest take it, and it only costs $260 Americans. And if you don't have the money right now, you can pay in monthly payments. Okay, you just need to book a call with me or with my colleagues, and we will make your arrangement. We will arrange your payments and stuff with the credit card and stuff. It's very easy. Okay. Well, let's go with the Q&A. As I said, I have several questions here from the audience, and let's stop sharing the screen. Okay, here we are. Manal, hi, how are you? Manal came here. Yes, Manal always come here to my show, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, let's go. You are asking here, Manal, how combine for 8 liters of milk? Well, for 8 liters of milk, let's say that you are using, let's put this example, 1.5% of bacteria. For 8 liters of milk, you use 8 times 1.5%. You have to use 0.12 grams, okay, for 8 liters of milk of the type of bacteria that you're using. This percentage, but it sometimes doesn't have to be 1.5%. Maybe it's 2.2%, you never know, or 0.5%. It will depend on your recipe. If you decided that if your recipe, let's say that the recipe states for 0.8%, for your 8 liters would be 8 liters times 0.8%, 0.06 grams. If you put 0.06, 0.07, doesn't matter. Okay? A little bit more, doesn't matter. Okay? To combine the culture, you say here, combine the culture. If it is, let's say there is, let's work with numbers, with big numbers. For 8 liters, 1.5, as I said before. 8 liters or 1.5% is 0.12, as I told you. You can mix, for example, 0.06 Lactococcus lactis and 0.06 Lactococcus cremoris. That's it. You can use both. Or if you want to produce wholes, you can use 0.10 or 0.1 of Lactococcus lactis cremoris, or both, and 0.02 of Leuconospora mesenteroides or Propione shermani. You just need to, and you have the 0.12. You just need to try it. It worked. You have enough holes? No, not enough holes. So you have to lower the above amount. Instead of 0.1, put 0.8 and put 0.4 of the gas producer bacteria to increase the holes. And then test it again. Are you satisfied? Yes. Okay, this is going to be your recipe. This is how you do it. Very easy. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay. And we finished lockdown here in New Zealand. We're still in level 3, step 2, which we can gather 25 people together, but we're still in lockdown here in New Zealand. Okay. Let's go with with the questions I have here. Question from the audience. Let's see here. I'm new in cheese making. How much cheese should I get per liter of milk? I don't know if I answered this question last week, but anyway, I'm going to answer quickly. For liter of milk, the numbers are more or less between 6 and 8 liters, between 6 and 10 liters per kilo of milk, depending on the type of cheese that you make. If you're going to make fresh cheese, we normally get 6-7 liters per kilo. If we are making mozzarella, we're getting 8 liters per kilo. If we are making hard cheese like cheddar or parmesan, we're using more or less 10 liters per kilo. Okay. Nigel Fletcher says here, white cheese sometimes taste ammonia. The cheese sometimes tastes ammonia because this is part of the denaturing of the fat and the protein. Okay, they produce they produce alcohols, and these alcohols sometimes is they get the smell of ammonia. When we are maturing the cheese and we have this ammonia smell, we are reaching the last part of the aging process. So we have to consume the cheese really quickly because the maturation process is going to an end. So we have to consume the cheese as soon as possible. Okay. So sometimes the taste is good. I mean, the smell the ammonia smell mixed with the taste make a perfect combination. Sometimes it's too much ammonia, so not all people like the smell. I like it because I have tasted a lot of cheeses, but just to tell you that if you start smelling ammonia in your cheese, your ripening process is going to an end, so you have to consume the cheese really fast. Okay. Debbie's saying here, what cheeses are ready to eat within 2 weeks? Well, you can make Mozzarella can make it in 2 weeks. I mean, can last 2 weeks. Queso fresco, you can make, it can last 2 weeks. Yeah, I would say queso fresco. Just make it, let it outside, so it get a little bit dry. In 2 weeks, you can consume it. There's a cheese from Chile called chanco, and it also it's the same fresh cheese. You just need to put it outside, let it dry. In 2 weeks, boom, gone. You can consume it, and the cheese will have a good flavor. Okay. Um, if you make this cheese, fresh cheese, and vacuum pack it and leave it 2 weeks into the fridge, the cheese inside into the bag will change texture and will become creamier with with a different texture if you put it outside. So this is another way. I don't know the name of the cheese, but it's like a cream cheese, but it's more creamy. Okay. It says here, Jeff Gonzalez. Hi, Dr. Quesero. Thanks for your videos. I was pressing my cheese and I did not drain, I reckon. I did not drain the whey. Therefore, the cheese became too wet. Can you say why? Well, when you press too much, it may happen because of different reasons. If your milk was ripened too long, too much acidity will avoid the synergy at the end. Also, if you put too much pressure at the beginning, your cheese won't. I mean, there is small fibers microscopically, right? Fiber into the curd, and when you press the cheese, the whey tends to go out of through these fibers. But if you put too much pressure, you're gonna block these microfibers, and the cheese will not drain accordingly. So you have to put low weight at the beginning, and then start increasing and let the cheese to lose weight or to lose water, which is the same, and then increase this weight when you are, I mean, slowly increase the weight slowly. Okay. Yeah, this is more or less the way to avoid it. Let's see if we have another question here. Here, Manal has a question. Let's see. I follow the mozzarella with culture. I follow the mozzarella recipe with culture. After I cook curd, I should wait 2 hours to get it 5.4 pH for the curd. Yeah, but I waited 20 minutes to arrive. But I waited 20 minutes to arrive. I didn't understand your question. Let me read it again. After I cook the curd, I should wait 2 hours to get 5.4 pH, correct, for the curd. But I waited for 20 minutes to arrive at the. What I understand is that you, instead of waiting 2 hours, you got the pH 5.4 at 20 minutes. This is what I understand of your question, Manuel. Well, part two, a good pH to arrive at a good pH at 20 minutes. Is there any problem to short time to get a good pH for the mozzarella cheese? Well, when you are acidifying your curd, if you get your pH at 20 minutes, this too quick acidification might dehydrate the protein, and when you stretch the cheese, maybe it will not stretch. Another reason would be if you are acidifying and in 20 minutes you already have the pH target, it means that when you are heating, you're going to be out of the window for sure. If you get because you only have 5.4 and 5.3, 5 until reach point 5, reach until 5.1. But if you have time to stretch the cord, it give in when you are stretching the pH, you have time to stretch, and the pH doesn't go too much. If you can do it, it's all right. But I would suggest lower a little bit the lactic culture in 10, 20%. Lower the amount that you are using now. For example, if you are using 1 gram, reduce it 20%, 0.8 grams, and your rate of acidification will be slower. And instead of getting the pH 5.4 in 20 minutes, you're gonna get it in 1 hour. And then you will have time to operate, to stretch the cord, and your cord will not dehydrate too much. Sometimes when we acidify too quickly, the protein dehydrates too much, and the cord will not stretch. So we have to. It's when this happens, we have to let it set. Don't stretch the same day. Just wrap it up with plastic film, put it into the fridge, let it cool a little bit, put it in the fridge for 1 day or 2 days, and then after 2 days, test it. Make a small test to see if it's stretch. Heat them up. If it's stretch, you can stretch the rest of the cord. If it doesn't stretch, leave it longer until it stretches. Okay. I know that you only make mozzarella, so this is the way to do it. But I would suggest. I reckon you are using too much bacteria, and your rate of acidification is too fast. It's too quickly. You don't have time to operate. It have happened to me before. And when I am just still stirring, I get to the pH target, so I lose my cheese. I get out of the band between 5.1 and 5.3. When I am draining the way off, the cord already got out of the pH band, and the cheese won't stretch. So another thing that you can do if you are getting to the pH target too quickly, take half amount of the way and put fresh water. This is another way to slow down the rate of acidification. Okay, if you notice that your cheese or your cord is getting the pH target too quick, too fast, drain half of the way, put fresh water at 80 degrees so the cord keeps warm, and of course you have to be in the temperature of the bacteria, right? If you are using thermophilic culture, which is between 45 and 40, with 80 degrees, if you put fresh water at 80 degrees, it will maintain more or less the temperature. Of course, don't throw it straight away, just slowly, so you don't kill because if you put 80 degrees into the way, some bacteria might die because you put it 80 degrees. So you have to do it slowly. But fresh water, by putting fresh water, we're going to have less lactose into the environment, into the pot or into the vat, which is less food for the bacteria, to feed than to reproduce. Therefore, your rate of acidification will be slower, and you will have time to operate until you reach the correct pH target. Okay, this is another way to do it. Okay, well, as I said, I've been having a lot of engagement with from the people that wants me to reduce the time of the show. So I'm going to reduce it in half an hour. But anyway, if you want me to carry on making a show in 1 hour, just comment here. I'm gonna make a post in YouTube so you can comment, so I can have your feedback, and I will lower it. Today I'm gonna leave it as it is, 45 minutes, and so we can, or let's answer one or two more questions, and we go. Okay. But if you want to, I would appreciate if you comment if you make a comment, so we can see we can have a look to your opinion, okay? And Angela Parker said here, I am getting a cheesecake today, wine fridge. I have wax cheddar in the pantry and will move them to the new fridge. Should I remove the wax and vacuum seal? Well, if your cheese is already waxed, leave it like that. You don't have to remove the wax. If the cheese is not waxed, you can vacuum pack it. The wax, what it does is the same process as vacuum packing. When you wax the cheese, is to keep the moisture inside the cheese. By waxing the cheese, your cheese will not lose moisture. It will not gain moisture either. So you make the same, you achieve the same goal vacuum packing the cheese or waxing the cheese. The thing is that when we wax the cheese, it's more like an artisan process. So if you are taking your cheese, for example, for a competition, I will wax it because the wax give the cheese your personal touch. Maybe you can put your stamp on the wax, and it makes the cheese to look more beautiful. If you're making cheese just for commercial purposes, you don't need to wax it. You can vacuum pack it, which is easier and less money. You just put it into a bag, boom, vacuum pack it, done in 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. So waxing the cheese is how the monks on people from the Middle Age used to ripen their cheese or to mature their cheese. And we still do it today because it gives the cheese a personal touch. Remember, cheese making is not only putting the cheese, ripen it, put it into the fridge, and that's it. No. Cheese making is an art. It has a little bit of chemistry, but it also has a lot of art. And by doing things different, putting the wax, putting your brand on it, on the wax, maybe waxing the cheese and putting putting cords or whatever, or maybe wrapping it with plastic beautiful paper, it will give the cheese your personal touch, and this will be your product and it will be unique. Okay, so and remember, cheese making is art beside science. Okay, I reckon we are done here. And as I said, if you want to take my course, just let me see. I don't have the link in English here, but the cheese making course is going to be in 5 languages. It's going to be, as I said, in Spanish. Spanish is my native language, my mother tongue. So all the videos I will be speaking in Spanish, but it will be translated in English, Hindi, Arabic, and Chinese. Okay, so if you speak one of these languages, you can take the course. If you want the one language in special, I can add it. It's not a biggie. Just let me know. Hey, I'm interested in the course, but I want it in, I don't know, Malaysian. We can sort it out. Okay, just let me know. I just put 5 languages because these 5 languages are the most spoken languages around the planet. So, but if you want to do it in I don't know, Africans or whatever, just let me know and we'll sort it out. Okay, thanks for coming. I'll see you next week. And next week, I don't know what we're going to speak about. I reckon we're going to speak about health and safety a little bit. Okay, so as I always said, eat cheese because life without cheese is like a love without a kiss. See you next week, okay? Take care.
Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesos colombianos y venezolanos, todo hecho en tu casa, con sabor zuliano y calor humano. Los quesos en casa tienen vitaminas, rápidos de hacer, en cualquier cocina. Tan fácil como pelar mandarinas. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Hago queso en mano, también queso pera. costeño en materas.